Welcome back to another special movie review, and the reason why it's a special movie review is because the movie I'm reviewing tonight, Algiers, was so good that I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 4 stars. Now, I usually give my rating at the end of movies, but I like this movie so much that I just want to put that in the front and let you all know that you should definitely see this movie. Now, Algiers was made in 1938. It stars the French Charles Boyer, Hedy Lamarr, Gene Lockhart, and Alan Hale, who most people would recognize from many Errol Flynn movies. He was in things like Robin Hood and many other Errol Flynn movies. And it also stars an actor who I've never noticed before, or maybe I've just never seen him, but he did an amazing job. His name is Joseph Calleia, and I hope to see more films with him in the future. Now, this movie is definitely a gangster movie ahead of its time. That, which is the reason why I have Goodfellas out, is because there were some scenes with the gangsters that reminded me of some scenes from the movie Goodfellas, and it just made me feel like maybe perhaps Scorsese had seen this movie and may have just taken some things from it. But I'll get to more detail in a few minutes. So the plot of the movie is Charles Boyer is a French jewel thief who's on the run from the police, and he is taking refuge in the Casbah in Algiers, Algeria. And this area is just a place where many thieves and crooks and just criminals can hide out, and usually it's very hard for the police to get to them. So, he's living the life there. He's not in prison. He has it okay. But then a woman, a beautiful woman, Hedy Lamarr, comes, and she's from France. And of course, he falls in love with her, and he knows that he can't go anywhere outside the Casbah, so it's like he's already in prison. And this is the primary theme of the movie, is that he's free from prison, but he's really not, because he can't leave this place. He can't go back to France. He can't go back to the beautiful Paris, which he longs to be in with Hedy Lamarr. So the actors in this movie, Alan Hale, he plays a very good, he's part of the gang, part of Boyer's gang, and he plays a philosophical guy. He's the guy always saying philosophical things. He's really funny. There's an albino guy in the gang who's actually very creepy, and there's another guy who keeps playing with a ball game. Keep an eye out for him. And I just thought that the characters that the director chose for the gang were just perfect, and they really gave it the movie that gangster feeling. Also, this movie is an excellent movie with Charles Boyer. I've seen several Charles Boyer films in the past, and this one really struck me as his best. I've seen Gaslight and I've seen Love Affair, but this movie I think is definitely Charles Boyer in his prime. He gives all sorts of emotions, ranging from happiness to being mad to being very sad. And there's even an amazing scene in the movie where he sings C'est la vie. I would recommend, even if you don't watch the movie, you can YouTube C'est la vie Charles Boyer, and you can see this hilarious singing scene with him. And it just made me really realize that Charles Boyer was just an incredible actor, and just he's not given enough spotlight in my opinion. Joseph Calleia, I already mentioned that I had never seen him in a movie before. He was known for playing kind of the mysterious guy in films, or the menacing guy. He was in the movie called Gilda. Most of you have probably seen it. But he really, and he was just so good. You'll see it. He has such a sly grin on his face. He plays the inspector in the movie that is trying to get Charles Boyer to come out of the Casbah. He has his own way of doing it. He's not going to use guns or any of that. So the whole movie, you kind of feel like he's this lazy, slow inspector who is just too lazy to get Boyer to come out, when really he's very smart. And towards the end of the movie, when he believes Boyer is coming out of the Casbah to go with Hedy Lamarr, he quickly changes his character into a sharp eagle type inspector, and you realize why this guy is the inspector in Algiers. And he just has a very, very interesting character and great actor, and he has a relationship with Boyer where they're friends. And when Boyer is getting caught, he even feels pity for Boyer because he's still his friend. And this was, in my opinion, this was one of the best parts of the movie, is the relationship between the inspector and Boyer, rather than, of course, the typical romance between Hedy Lamarr and Boyer. But scenes to watch, scenes to note in this are, I already mentioned Boyer singing C'est la vie. There's a scene where Jean Lockhart is getting intimidated by Boyer's gang, and this is the scene that really, really reminds me of Goodfellas, because you can really see the fear in Jean Lockhart's face when he really thinks he's going to be killed by the gang, which he is killed, and he's killed in cold blood by one of the gang members, and it's just really creepy. The albino guy's kind of in the corner smiling, everybody's smiling, and then creepy music even starts to play downstairs in the bar, and it's just a scene, in my opinion, that's ahead of its time. And Jean Lockhart was even nominated for Best Supporting Actor in this movie, and I can totally see why, because he really really looked scared and just was sweating and doing all that stuff. There's a scene in Goodfellas where what's his name, Robert De Niro, is choking a guy with a phone cord, and it reminded me of that scene. So that scene, and there's a scene towards the end where Boyer is feeling happy. He's running to be with Hedy Lamarr because he feels like, oh, I'm gonna go back to France. Everything's gonna be happy, because he's running to a ship in which Hedy Lamarr is going back to Paris. And while he's running to the ship, Algiers in the background starts to turn into Paris, and it's just a really interesting choice by the director to do that. That he, in his mind and feelings, he's going back to Paris, and it's an interesting scene to watch out for. And I already said this movie gets 4 stars out of 4 stars. It was perfect, in my opinion. The acting was perfect. The cast was amazing. Hedy Lamarr, she just played the beauty in the movie. She didn't need to act her heart out, but she did a nice job. The acting was great, I already said, and the music was even good. I really did like the music. And the story was interesting. It wasn't your typical guy falls for girl and dies movie. It was set in Algiers and had an interesting dynamic with the inspector and the leading criminal, and it was just a great story. It had a great script. Please watch this movie. Comment below. I hope you loved it as much as I did. I'd be interested to hear if you thought there were flaws in the movie. Please comment below. I know that most reviews do not give this movie perfect stars, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. So thank you all for watching. If you like gangster movies, you'll like this. Even modern gangster movies, I think you'll like this. And even if you like romances, of course you'll like this too. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and thanks guys. Have a good night.